Morning. So as you've heard, my name is Chege. I'm going to talk to you about a project we're carrying out at ISOC with the great help of the community. And this project is aimed at improving routing security and in general security on the internet. So this is a slightly technical presentation, but I'll try to avoid a lot of technical terms. And of course, we'll have a Q&A and I can clarify. So routing security, the way the internet works is one network is connected to another network, and those two networks share what is called routing information. And routing information is mainly how one network communicates with another network. Now, on the internet, the number of visible networks are identified with a number that's called the autonomous system or autonomous system number. And there are currently 74,000 networks if you count the number of autonomous systems available. And autonomous system just means a network that is under the control of one organization or one entity. So if you count the number of autonomous system networks that are visible on the global internet, those are 74,000. And what happens is those 74,000 networks each share information about how they're connected to a neighboring network. So in the case of this hotel, for example, this hotel is provided by an internet service provider. That internet service provider is connected to another internet service provider. And those two internet service providers will exchange routing information, which basically says, this is my network. My network is number one. I'm connected to number two, and we're connected in this way. Now, that works pretty well. That's how all of us are able to get online. However, there are a couple of weaknesses in how this information is shared. So each network will have a device that's called a router, very similar to the ones you might have at home, only that the ones at your internet service provider are probably larger and more capable. These routers use a certain language or a certain protocol to exchange information with other routers. Basically, there's a certain format that one device will use to communicate with another device on the network and share what's called this routing information. And that language or that protocol is called BGP, or Border Gateway Protocol. And it's used globally to connect different networks together on the internet. Now, there are a couple of weaknesses there with how it's done. It's because any network can declare incorrect information about how it's connected to another network. And that is because BGP, it relies on trust. Basically, it means that if all of us are having our own networks together and we're all connected, if this was a small network here, you have to trust me when I tell you I'm connected to this network in this manner. I have to trust you that you're going to give me accurate and honest information about how you're connecting to your neighboring networks. So that trust can be manipulated, it can be taken advantage of, and that is a big problem on the internet, because it means if the information on the internet is incorrect, it means one network can impersonate another network or can hijack another network, which I'm going to explain shortly. So a number of issues that can that as the result of how BGP has been set up, the weaknesses related to it, you can have what's called a route leak. A route leak basically means that as network information is shared between routers on the internet, one network can, or several networks can declare incorrect information that results in routing information being compromised or being misleading. Basically, what that would mean in the real world is, let's say we're here in South Africa, I'm trying to reach a network in a neighboring country, or a country in Africa like Zimbabwe, and the path that should go should be, maybe on land and just connect directly. But because of an incorrect routing advertisement that comes up, or an incorrect information from the networks, it means instead of traffic flowing directly within Africa, it goes through an incorrect route, a very inefficient route. So you do still get your information, you do still get to the network you're supposed to get to, but you take a very, very long path around the globe that was not supposed to happen. So that's what's called a route leak. Another thing that could happen is what's called a route hijack. Now, this is more serious. So a route hijack in this case is you're trying to reach your home network, you're trying to reach a device back home in South Africa, maybe you're browsing something that's in another part of the globe. And your traffic, instead of going to the appropriate destination, it's hijacked by someone else on the internet, and then they can then receive the information you have. If you're trying to log into a bank website, for example, that information is then accessed by someone else. Basically, the traffic gets redirected. So the way to understand the two issues here is a route leak. Yes, whatever you're browsing, you're going to get to it eventually, but with a route hijack, it doesn't get to the appropriate destination, which is a very serious issue in terms of security. And finally, impersonation. As I said, one network can impersonate another network, or using these leaks in these weaknesses in BGP, you can impersonate another website. So for example, if your bank has not properly set up their network, it is very possible to impersonate a bank website, create a fake one, you manipulating the information on BGP, creating a fake bank website, and then you harvest all the credentials that are coming in, the usernames and passwords. So it is a big issue. So this animation is basically just to explain what I was trying to talk about. So the user in orange there, or yellow, I'm not sure how it appears on the screen. Yeah, orange. You're trying to access a website on the internet, google.com. The correct path is through the blue icon there, or the blue gentleman. We'll assume that's a network. But an incorrect or a misleading BGP advertisement is announced on the internet, and instead of going the correct path, you're routed through another network. And as a user, you may not really know what's happened. You think you've gone the right way, but it results in a route leak, or you end up being routed or being directed to an incorrect or a fake website. Now, this, of course, has big impacts on privacy. Any weakness in security automatically has an impact on privacy. So you can have what are called man in the middle attacks, or adversary in the middle attacks. It means there's an impersonator, or there's someone listening into your conversations and can track the information you're sending, usernames and passwords, especially if they're not secure. Hijacks, it means if you're trying to access a bank website or any other website, school, university network, where you have to send your credentials are received by someone else, and they can use that later on for other attacks. And then impersonation, as I said, creating a fake website or database or anything. So what's the solution here? So there's a community-led project that's called MANARS. MANARS stands for Mutually Agreed Norms of Routing Security, MANRS. It was implied a bit during the ICANN presentation. They have a similar program that's for DNS. This one is for routing. And this basically defines best current practices for routing security so that we improve the security on the internet. And it's mainly focused or aimed at our network operators, our internet exchange points, and our content delivery networks, and also our vendors. So we have a program for each of those four categories, and there are specific actions they're supposed to take there, which will improve the internet for all of us, improve security for all of us. So under those four programs that I've mentioned, the CDN, content data networks, internet exchange point, ISP, and equipment vendor, they are required to carry out certain actions to improve security. One of them is filtering. Filtering just means making sure the information, as I shared earlier, the information you receive from one network is correct, and you make sure that you're not receiving incorrect routing information. And similarly, you don't send incorrect routing information on the internet. That way, you're just making sure that you're basically a good neighbor on the internet, and you're sending honest and accurate information about how you're connecting on the internet. And if more and more networks carry out this best current operational practices, the internet is going to be more secure for all of us. So the program has a number of tools and resources available to you. One of them is the observatory. We call it the MANARS Observatory. You can go to observatory.manars.org. You'll be able to see a dashboard of routing security and any routing incidents that are happening. So observatory.manars.org, it is public facing. You can go to it right now and see some information about routing security. Then once you become a MANARS participant or a MANARS member, you do get elevated access, and you can get more and more information about your network. So if your network is involved in a routing incident or is a victim of a routing incident, very high chance you're going to get that information from the routing from the MANARS Observatory. We also have a lot of trainings available. So if you're in the room and you're a network operator, you have staff who you would like to learn more about routing security and manners, we have a lot of trainings available. There are a lot of primers and documents on the Manners website if you go to manners.org. And also on the e-learning platform for ISOC, you can get a lot of training materials there as well. So this year, I'll just quickly go through the activities we've done so far. We've been improving the Manners Observatory. The observatory aggregates a lot of information about networks on the internet and then displays charts and graphs about the state of routing security globally. You can go there and see, and we always make improvements to that data. We have a mentors and ambassadors program. So if you're interested in learning more about routing security or participating in it, we signed up with 12 mentors and ambassadors joined the Manners program this year for 6 months. And what they're doing is carrying out trainings or, at events like this, talking about routing security. As I mentioned, we have trainings. We're also engaging new communities like CSATs. And also we had what we called a Routing Security Summit earlier this year in July, which was a week full of trainings and other activities aimed at improving knowledge on routing security. So one positive outlook, the Manners program is going to be 10 years old next year. We've been doing it for nine years. There was a very good BGP workshop carried out in the United States, and they mentioned Manners as the sort of go-to set of best practices that all network operators should adopt in order to improve routing security. So in the slides, there's a link to a YouTube session there of what they were discussing, a very interesting conversation there. So I'll wind up with the plans for Manners this year. So Manners has been there for 9 years, and we're looking at further improvements to the process. We want to introduce an elevated tier for Manners. We're improving the Manners auditing and making improvements to the observatory all the time. Policy engagement and trainings, that's continuous work that we do continuously. We're also looking for more support. We have received a lot of support from the community and from some organizations and networks in this room. We thank you very much. You can specifically sponsor the work going to the observatory or to the Mentors and Ambassadors program, or come in and help with our training activities as well. Later on this year in November, we are going to have what we call the Routing Security Summit. Routing Security Symposium, excuse me. So that will be a chance for you to learn more about what has been going on this year with Manners and more opportunities available to you and how you can learn more about routing security. So finally, why should you join Manners? If you're a network operator or an ISP or an IXP, it helps you to improve your routing posture. It makes your network more secure by default. You're setting a baseline of how you're going to send information on the internet, how you're going to receive it, and that in essence improves security. By improving security, you are improving your privacy. You're going to be joining a network of network operators who are more keen on security and making the internet more secure. And you can use it, if you're an ISP, you can use this as a Manners as a competitive differentiator, whereby you can show that you're taking security very seriously. And if you're a network, although I'm mentioning ISP, IXP, if you're a network and you have your own ASN, you can also sign up for Manners and join the Manners program. It's at no cost. So I'd like to stop here, say thank you very much. I'll be around for Q&A. You can go to the Manners website for more information about Manners. So I'd like to say thank you very much. Maybe hand back to Marcus.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to invite Victor to come and talk about global internet encryption. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. Let's work. Good
morning, everyone. So my name is Victor Ndonnang. I'm Community Engagement Manager for the Africa region. I work with our chapters, 38 of them in Africa, to support the vision and mission of the Internet Society. I'm happy to have members and leaders of the Internet Society South Africa chapter here in the room, and many Internet Society chapter members and individual members that I serve every day. So what I'm going to talk about falls in the area of as David mentioned, the Internet Society exists to keep the internet open, globally connected, secure and trustworthy for everyone. So what I'm going to present falls in that area of keeping the internet secure and trustworthy for everyone. So I'm going to talk about that part of our work and the initiative that we call Global Encryption Coalition. And one of the main activity of that coalition is the Global Encryption Day. So early this morning, I was sharing some backlog, and many of you were asking me, where's the key? So, and this activity is part of that area of work of keeping your communication secure and protecting your privacy on the internet. So if I'm the carrier, I have your packet, and if I have the key, I will have opened your packet and see what is inside before even delivery. So your key should be only you. So your communication on the internet should be between you, the sender, and the receiver. It should be end-to-end encrypted. So the Global Encryption Day is an annual day of action to promote and defend encryption for everyone. Next slide, please. Oh. Yes, as I mentioned, the Global Encryption Day is an initiative of the Global Encryption Coalition that was founded in 2020 by the Center for Democracy and Technology, global partners, digital, and the Internet Society. And the coalition now has more than 250 members. And the mission of the coalition is simple, is to promote and defend encryption in key countries and multilateral fora where it is under threat. So why encryption is under threat? And many of you may have heard about it. So many governments like to know what people are sharing on the internet. So the encryption is under threat because not only government, but also private entity are willing to break your privacy on the internet. They want to know what people are sharing. And many of you here move from app to app. Many use Telegram or WhatsApp or others because it's end-to-end encrypted. Your communication is just between you and the sender. So as David mentioned, we don't work alone. We work with partners. We work with our community. So the coalition is led by a steering committee that is formed by members from the Internet Society, from the Center for Democracy and Technology, global partners, digital, Mozilla, and the Internet Freedom Foundation. You can see on this slide, it's just the distribution of the 250 plus members, as I mentioned earlier. So we have in Africa, 25 of those 250 members are based in Africa. And we have a good number, you see the majority are civil society, but civil society because most of the users want privacy, want the internet that is secure and trustworthy. So the Global Encryption Day is coming, is next month, October 21st, and it's happening every day since the coalition was founded. And for this year, the theme is simple, is encryption makes people powerful. So we feel powerful when you know that your communication on the internet is secure, is what you are sending to your correspondent at the other end of the world can only be decrypted or read by that receiver. So just additional information, the Global Encryption Day has happened since 2021. So the first theme was to promote the use of encryption, because the more people use encryption, the better it is. So the more powerful we become. We have a strong community of people using encryption. And it's even simple. If you start making sure that your encryption is enabled on your website. So you use HTTPS and such kind of things. And last year, the team was to protect the encryption from threats. As I mentioned earlier, threats from government and also private entity. So this year puts forward more hopeful messages and strengthening in numbers. So there is safety when more people use encryption, and we are more powerful when there is a strong community of people using encryption, and that strong community can also defend the encryption and keep our communication secure on the internet. This slide, most of our chapters here, and also some of you may be part of an organization that is a member of the coalition. So we support the member of the coalition to do that advocacy of promoting and protecting encryption. So this year we opened a grants program. It's a mini grants of $1,000 to help the members to organize local activities to promote and defend encryption. So you can see it's already closed, but all the 50 available grants were distributed. So what can you do this year on that Global Encryption Day? So if you are not a member yet, I share some stickers. You can just go on the Global Encryption Coalition. So you can become a friend of the coalition, you can become a member, or you can just emphasize and amplify the message of the coalition. So you can host a Global Encryption Day in your country, and you will find all the resources and supporting material that you need on the Global Encryption website. I was applying for the grant. If you didn't do it this year, you can definitely do it next year for the Global Encryption Day 2024. And what action also can you take? Is encryption is under threat in your country, particularly in Africa. I believe we have 2 countries where encryption is under threat because of projects of law that is ongoing in Nigeria and in Mauritius as well. So you can share a testimonial on how encryption helps keep you safe on the internet. Maybe why you use Telegram or why you use WhatsApp instead of having other messaging app that don't apply end-to-end encryption. So you can amplify the work of the global encryption on social media. You will see all the helpful, the toolkit with all the helpful material that you can use, as I said, to amplify this advocacy effort that we are all working towards. And for organization or civil society organization, you can make a press release. And you will also find on the website a template that you can just use to personalize. And for those who want to support that promotion, you can be a sponsor of Global Encryption Day activities in your country. So again, I was mentioning here, this is a website that you can go there and learn more about encryption, globalencryption.org, and you will find there all the information that you need to support this advocacy work of the Internet Society. So on that, I will thank you very much, and we will be open to questions. Over to you, Marcus.
Well, we have some few minutes for questions. Okay.
Yeah, this is Alain Ayina. Thank you, Victor, for these presentations. I would like you to elaborate a bit on the regulations issue you mentioned in Mauritius and Nigeria. And then the second point also will be that when we we are advocating for encryptions. We should not forget also key management, because I know friends who now have used PGP years ago to encrypt mail, they lost the key and they can't read this mail today. So are we also looking at the key management? So yeah, this is the point now. Thank you.
Thank you. There's only one question now. Okay, just
So the two countries that I mentioned are Nigeria. So in Nigeria, in May 2022, there was a drive, I believe they call app. It's called Code of Practice for Interactive Computer Service Operation. And that draft code threatened the encryption. Why? Because in that code, it requires traceability, so that the Nigeria National Information Technology and Development Agency is allowed through that code of practice to seek to regulate platform amongst other requirements, including traceability of exchange of transaction or communication between the on the internet. And if the government need to know to follow up on that and know where a communication is going between who user internet, that means they need to have your key. They need to encrypt to know everything that is going into the traffic. And that's why we believe that particular code threatens the encryption. And maybe that we can add more. And in Mauritius, there was in 2021 an amendment to the ICT Act, and the proposed amendment focused on the goal was to address the abuse and misuse of social media. And many of you knows how that effort to control social media to prevent abuse is a challenge for many governments. And some governments think that to address that, it can be through some kind of regulation or laws. So that particular act, amendment in Mauritius was intervening in the issuance of encryption certificate. So if your particular website, if you need a certificate from an authority, you get it. But the government in Mauritius would like to be the one controlling, like to be the one between you and the authority that delivers that particular certificate. And maybe that we can come here and add more if you are in it.
Thank you, Victor. I'm not familiar with all of this, but the whole idea is that governments are sometimes, understandably, they want to protect their citizens, and for that, they want to know in some situations, for example, when there are terrorists involved, when there are, I don't know, people who are trying to commit crime online, they want to know the messages that they are exchanging. And for that, what we see again and again is that they want a backdoor. So they want to be able to decrypt the message when they need it. So they want to have a key that they have that will open your message. But the problem is that if there is a backdoor, it cannot be just for them. There will be a possibility for any criminal to take that key and decrypt it, which means we will have a very weak encryption, and weak encryption is not encryption. Would you use encryption to access your bank account if you have even a small doubt that someone can open it? It's not possible. So weak encryption is not encryption, and many governments, maybe with good intentions, want to make the encryption weak. So what we're saying is that we have to keep strong encryption. We understand the challenges that governments have, but we'll have to find other solutions that do not require us to, to touch on the strength of the encryption, because without encryption, we don't have a secure internet. We don't have everything that we're talking about. What Kevin was saying, it relies on encryption. Everything that secures the internet relies, DNSSEC, we were talking about DNSSEC, it requires encryption. So without encryption, we cannot have a strong internet, secure internet. So let's not mess it up. And sometimes it is governments well-intended with good intentions that that can create damage. And that's why we need the community. That's why work, and that's why we have all those tools to inform, to create the awareness at the local level, so that we don't have those laws that might have an impact well beyond your country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, David. And what I will add is the good news is for Mauritius, that tentative from the government to allow HTTPS traffic to be routed through government control proxy server was not successful, thanks to the local and global advocacy, and that proposal of amendment was not adopted. So, and that's why we need advocacy. We need people to be informed. So if you see any proposal or an act or a law in your country that would threaten your privacy and make the internet less secure and trustworthy, you need to speak up, and you need to mobilize and explain to the government why that tentative make us put everyone in danger on the internet. It doesn't just solve the issue, but it make the internet less secure and trustworthy. I hope that answered the question. Thank you.
Questions? Yeah, I think. Okay, come on.
Thanks, Victor and David. So just to add on to what's been said, there are a lot of free training resources on the internet website. If you Internet Society website, you can go to internetsociety.org/learning, and there's a free course on encryption there. There's a free course on manners, and several others, and they're available in English, French, and I believe also Spanish. So you can get to understand more about encryption and also the risks associated with having weak encryption, which basically means anyone on the internet can, there'll be no privacy and there'll be no security on the internet, because any information you send will be able to be understood by anyone. So that will then we can trust on the internet. If you don't trust that I can send you a secure message, or you can send, you can log in securely to your websites or social media accounts, high chance you're going to stop using those social media platforms, and basically you'll stay offline on the internet. So that's why encryption is very important. So internetsociety.org/learning, a number of free courses there available for everyone. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Roman Secret, Victor. The next session is going to talk about fragmentation of the internet, and the moderator of the session is Victor.